Welcome to Business Influencers. Hope everyone had a wonderful new year. It is such a pleasure that we hope everyone, finished 2022 strong and now getting ready for 2023. Again, if you still have not outlined your goals and objectives for you personally and your business, feel free to reach out to us here at Business Influencers at chris@christophersalem.com. We'd be more than happy to go over and provide some direction or insights on some ways that you can better outline and specifically get really down to achieving those goals and objectives for your organization or at a personal level. Feel free again to reach out to us at chris@christophersalem.com. If you're new to Business Influencers, you found us here at TALRadio. We also encourage you to follow us on Apple as well as Spotify and our YouTube channel at talradio.org. We got a great show for you today, and it's being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a new social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types, an opportunity to rekindle old and meet new people for the first time. It is a membership program, meaning that it takes all the noise out of social media. So when you're paying for it, is to take all the noise out of social media, and you're eligible to receive different perks as a business owner and as an individual that you would normally not get elsewhere. Feel free to check them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. Well, we got a great show. Again, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about networking reimagined. So this is all about business networking. Now, there's a lot of networking groups out there. The question is, how are these networking groups operating? Are they benefiting you? Are they helping you to take you and your business to the next level? Now, it's not about what you come to receive necessarily. It's about what you have to give. So you're going to be hearing from someone that has run successful networking groups and has his organization that does a wonderful job of bringing people together with business influencers. And you're going to learn from someone today that's going to help you to really navigate the space and to make the best choices for you and your business. So we're going to be talking with Jonathan Rosen. He's the founder and creator of Collaberex, where he focuses his energy on providing remarkable value to all he touches. His organization is designed to show how members where we care by helping them to create the most meaningful, impactful, personal relationships between business professionals, because he believes that business personal growth is based on authentic, lasting relationships. Prior to founding Collaberex, Jonathan held positions as CEO, COO, and founder of several businesses in the greater New York metro area over the past 35 years in a variety of different sectors, including manufacturing, distribution, importing, retail, and e-commerce. He holds a law degree and a BBA and master's in finance, all from the George Washington University. And without further ado, we welcome Jonathan Rosen to the show. Jonathan, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Chris. So happy to be here today. I'm thrilled.
We are so happy to have you. I mean, I know a lot about you being a Collaberex member, but I'm going to let you do a lot of the talking here today. Let's just talk about, the landscape of business networking. There are so many groups now out there, so many different types of networking, virtually, in person, a combination of both. Where is business networking where it is now? Where do you see it going into 2023 and beyond?
So it's interesting, my backstory is, people ask me, why did I start this? And because I've had experience with all those networking groups that are out there. I think I've been to all of them over the years, over time. So I've seen the good with the bad. I've seen ones that are a little more focused and ones that aren't focused at all. And it's just been a mishmash of kind of groups that I find are not well thought out. They don't start with what value can I provide the members? What's a return on investment in time and money? And often the time is the bigger investment because you always have opportunity costs. What else could I be doing that's more productive? But they don't. It's just kind of random groups of large people, and they put you in a room, or they put you in a Zoom room or a real room or a conference room, and they say, here, go at it, go meet each other. That's it. It just doesn't work. It's not, they're not helping. They're putting you together, but then it's up to you. So I see the direction of networking is just a much more thoughtful approach. Listen, it's not only networking, all businesses have to focus on their customers and think, what value am I specifically bringing them? And constantly ask themselves, why me? Why should people care about my product, my service, my organization? And so that's the perspective that we use when I created Collaberex. I thought about, you could, I find the best conversation starter if you're at one of those random networking groups is you go up to somebody and say, what's the worst networking experience you've ever had? People will instantly go off and tell you 10 things that they thought were ridiculous. So there's a lot of bad out there, and there's very few organizations that really think it through.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's so true. Talk a little bit about why, when you come into a networking group, the concept of why, giving I have a friend of mine, Bob Berg, he, wrote the book, The Go-Giver. Like, so if I use that term, why it's so better to be a go-giver, a giver. Not that you're just giving and setting yourself up to be taken advantage of. That's not what I'm saying here, but somebody that comes in to give value. And it's not just maybe necessarily just leads in itself, but we're talking about things that could help elevate you personally, elevate your skills in your business. That's going to help you to also attract other new customers and enhance existing relationships. That value that you could receive, right? Somebody who has that expertise or is maybe walked in the shoes that you're choosing to walk in. Can you share some insight to that?
Sure. Listen, it comes down to, it's all about trust. So you're building relationships with other people. So at traditional networking groups, sometimes they talk a good game, but their actions don't align with, they talk about, know, like, and trust, building relationships, but the actions that they take and the priorities that they have at traditional networking groups are things like lots of rules, on attendance, lots of rules on, we go around the room and we do an elevator pitch. So that's not giving, that's asking, that's taking, that's saying, here's they call it a commercial. It's a commercial.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of a self-centered activity saying, here I am, here are my is the key word there, products and services. Who do you know that can who can hire me? And that's what traditional networking groups do. What they do is they also count the amount of referrals you give. They count what they value is quantity of referrals without regard to quality. And what they do is because they count quantity, that's what people give. So they give a lot of, semi-cold leads that the rules of the group require them to do. In our groups, or in groups where you're a giver and you build relationships, people give referrals because they want to, not because the rules of the group say they have to. So, in traditional networking groups, there are so many things that don't work. One, it's transaction focused, just results, quantity of low value referrals. Second, it's very self-centered. It's go around the room and give your commercial, brag about yourself, recite your snappy tagline, and that's not something that gets people to build relationships with each other. I mean, think of like a first date, right? You go there, if you say, hey, let me tell you, I have this degree and that degree, and I worked at this company and that, and you talk about all your values and your features and benefits, and listen, I'm a great athlete and I do this and I could cook. You're not going to get a second date. You want to find out, you want to build a relationship. You want to find out about that other person. You want to find out what you have in common with those people. So also in traditional networking groups, it's all about rules versus values. I don't believe in setting rules to affect behaviors. provide the most value. If you want people to show up your groups, make it so they want to show up at your groups.
Yeah.
You're providing them the most value. Do things that they will come if you're providing them, things that they want. It's also, traditional networking groups tend to be inauthentic. People are hiding behind talking points. People aren't coming as their true self. They're coming as the people that others expect them to be versus who they really are. And that's not what forms connections between people. So when you're a giver, as you said, and you're giving with no expectation of anything in return, it has nothing to do with value that you're going to get. You're doing it to be sincere and authentic and to be a resource and to help other people. And from that, that's how you build trust and connection, and people will then human nature will take over. People will want to then help you and reciprocate. So it's a
I
great
agree.
attitude.
I always find that when I give without expectation, again, with healthy boundaries, of course, that it always comes back. It doesn't mean that it may not come back from the person you gave to, but it comes back elsewhere. It's energy, and it's so profound that it just comes back, and it's a win-win for everybody involved. Like you said, it's the energy that's created in that networking circle that you're in, because people are coming to give. Can you talk a little bit about, Jonathan, about a typical a day-to-day, like, when I wouldn't say day-to-day, but like a typical meeting in Collaberex, like what that looks like virtually? And I know you also used to do these in person, and there's so many different social networking that you're doing in person as well, even now. But just the day, during a typical virtual networking meeting that you have in various groups that you run.
So first of all, we are completely relationship focused, meaning that everything that we do during the meeting is designed to accelerate the relationship building process between the members in our groups during the meetings that we have. People are very busy, so we value their time immensely. So our groups meet twice a month for 90 minutes, and they're virtual only. When COVID started, we switched from in-person to virtual, but we didn't just change our model and place it on Zoom, which a lot of organizations did, and it just didn't work. What we did is we said, okay, now that we're on Zoom, we actually have to make our meetings more personal, more impactful, and more productive than they were when we met in conference rooms at law firms and accounting firms and banks and things like that. The reason is because it's a virtual environment now, and we have to, people have to kind of feel each other through the screen, just as they did when they were sitting next to each other at a conference table. So we kind of leaned into our values. So a typical group is, so first of all, some of the things that we do is we believe that a business group should provide all the skill sets that people need in order to be successful in any small business or professional services practice. And those things are personal growth skills, professional growth skills, relationship building skills, business development best practices, and also some accountability and goal setting. So if you can improve all those things, you're going to be better at communicating with your prospects and your clients and your colleagues. You're going to get more business that way. We do those things by doing those things together and learning together with other group members. It accelerates the relationship building process between those members, because we're not highlighting each other. We're having a group conversation between each other. And so what people have said to me is a new guest will come to a group feeling they're a complete stranger, and 90 minutes later, they feel like they went to kindergarten together. So it's that effective. But a typical meeting is, we might be working on a professional growth skill. We're a firm believer in bringing in the experts and creating stimulating conversations. So we show a lot of TED Talks or educational videos on topics that are important to each other. And so typically we'll have some kind of introduction, not an elevator pitch, but sometimes we'll break off into groups of two and interview each other and say to the person you're interviewing, find out not what they do for a living, but who they are as a person. And then you have to come back to the group and tell about the person that you just interviewed. So we'll do that. That's one example of an introduction. We'll then go into, say, a TED Talk about a particular topic. It could be about goal setting. It could be about behaviors or habits or gratitude or resilience or things that are of interest to people. Then we'll come back. We'll split up into other breakout groups of 3 or 4 people where people can have more intimate conversations, get to know each other better. We'll come back and discuss things as a whole. We'll do a group debrief, maybe another breakout, come back, and then kind of conclude the meeting. We always have more content than you could actually squeeze into a 90-minute meeting, and it goes by in a blink. People have really interesting personal conversations, and we just encourage people to show up as themselves, be themselves. We want to share all their experiences and values with the other members of the group. That's how we learn, and that's how we build relationships.
Well, I think, I know that firsthand, and it's so evident that when you can build that rapport and you get to know people, and it's more than just what they do, it's why they do what they do, and you feel more. You feel more understood. You feel related to, and I just find that it makes it easier when the time comes when you are, helping each other, and then eventually you do get a lead from somebody. That it's a more sustainable model. It's just because, again, it's built on those values like you talked about, and it's not somebody that comes in and is looking for a lead, and you get them a lead, and next thing you know, they're gone. They disappeared. They go somewhere else, and it's missing in action. Here, even though people, you're not going to have these strict parameters, but nonetheless, people show up. You're giving them a reason to empower them to come. It's not like, oh, I gotta be there, or I'm going to get a slap on the wrist. It's that you're going to, they're there because they've chosen to be there, and they come there again to give that value. I always sense that every time I come in, to the group that I belong to.
And the leads that people get, it's interesting. If I was going to refer you, if I was in your group, it goes like this. I meet someone that I know that could use your services. I would say, hey, Chris is your guy. This is the person you need to speak to. And that person would say, why do you say that? Why are you so certain? And the answer is, I've been in this group with him. We've gotten to know each other so well. I know all about him as a person. I know that he's going to do what's in your best interest. He's going to be focused on your needs. He has the expertise and the experience to do it's not like in other groups. Oh, you're looking for, an accountant. Here's 3 names that I know, and you get credit for giving referrals. The leads become a layup, as opposed to they're such qualified prospects that they're much more likely to convert to closed business than in other traditional networking groups. Yeah. Another value that differentiates us is, in a lot of other organizations, you join a group and that's it. The way that we view Collaberex is your membership in our group maybe represents, depending on who you ask, 60% of the value. The other 40% is that you're a member of a community. You're a member of a community of all the other groups that we have. So right now we have 10 groups, and you have access to all those members through a member portal. You have we do a lot of cross-pollination. We do in-person socials. We're having a luncheon on Monday that 17 people are showing up in central New Jersey. We do monthly open networking sessions. monthly workshops that, Chris, you've given that have been fantastic. We're starting new initiatives for next year, affinity groups, people with common interests. It might be for people that have more than 5 employees, or people that call on nonprofits, or people that call on chief marketing officers. We're starting mentorship programs where you could be a mentor or mentee. We're going to do mastermind groups, all kinds of things anything that we can provide more value to our members. So that's always our providing. It's better to focus on values versus rules. So
Yeah.
I was actually listening to a podcast a few weeks ago about a company that was very successful and had just gotten a lot of venture capital funding. And they took their entire marketing budget and they said, we're not doing any marketing. We're going to go, their phrase was, we're going to go viral through product quality. They're going to look inward. And that's how they wanted to grow, be so fantastic that more people will talk about them.
Yeah. So true. And talk a little bit about, John, because I always find that, there's great retention, and retention is always important, especially if you're going to build long-term relationships. And, that's obviously evident in Collaberex. People have been in the group or groups for a while, since they started. It's not like come and go and hit or miss, which a lot of times, sometimes you'll see. And that's one thing. But talk about, like, what are some of the other benefits people can generate by, being a part of a networking group like Collaberex? Some other perks that could benefit them, and and why they do what they do in their businesses or their jobs, depending upon what that is.
So one of the things that we do that also differentiates us is we have professional facilitators that facilitate all the groups. In traditional networking groups, it's always like a volunteer that volunteers, oh, I'll lead the group, for a while. And it's completely self-serving. They're doing it so they can be in front of the group, and they probably get a discount on membership, and that's it. I mean, I was in one of those groups and I used to volunteer also. And I would say the quality of my membership, of my leadership, leading the group varied depending on how busy I was in my real job. So here we have professionals that do it, and their sole goal is to run agendas that are of the most value to their particular group. So if their group wants more business development best practices, or things that are a little more transactional minded, or they want more personal growth skills or professional growth skills, then those are the benefits that we're going to give them. So people are getting professional growth skills, personal growth skills. They're also getting a group that's a sanctuary from the competitive environment they're all in. They have a group of people that are there to support them and hold them accountable in their growth, where they can share successes and challenges. We do a lot of goal setting and accountability. So it's something that's really going to keep you going in your business and have other people hold you accountable while you hold them accountable. So that's another big benefit. The group becomes your focus group. They become your advisors, your peer advisors. They become your sales funnel, because as a primary side effect of the relationships you build, people will refer you because they will want to help you if that's the help that you need. And so it's a combination of all these things. We're providing so much value than just what a traditional networking group does, which is just a quantity of, semi-cold leads. There's so much more to business than that. So those are some of the values that we provide. The sense of community, the sense of support. We've had members that have been laid off from their jobs, and people step up and help them find new jobs. We have people whose spouses have been laid off and need help, or kids, or whatever it might be, where we're that group of people that really can help you be your competitive advantage in this marketplace.
Wow, and it's so true. There's so many things, and it's like a family, and that's what when you talked about values or earlier, families are our core value, and when somebody can treat you like if it were their own family, that goes a long way. No, I think it's great. So, Jonathan, I'd like you to share with the audience, a little bit about how can they get to know more about you and Collaberex, since we're towards the end of the show, and best place they could reach you, anything that you'd like to offer them here that are listening, those listening later.
Sure. So the easiest way to reach me is by email. First of all, you could look at our website, which is collaberex.com, which is COLLABEREX.com. And you could reach me at jonathan@collaberex.com, and it's JONATHAN@collaberex.com. One of the things that we do, a policy, so people can experience our groups and see if it feels right to them, if they feel they're going to get the values that they are looking for, is we say, come to our groups, your first 30 days of membership are free. So in 30 days, you can literally go to 20 groups because we meet twice a month and we have 10 groups. So you can visit as many groups as you want in those 30 days. You could come to all our workshops. You could come to our open networking events. You could come to any other events that we have, so you can truly experience and get enough information so you can make an informed decision of whether this is something that you think is of value.
Wow. Well, we highly encourage those that are listening, again, take advantage of this. And again, you could be anywhere anywhere where you reside. Again, Jonathan is not geographically just in one area. This is something that you can do anywhere here in the country. So again, reach out to Jonathan Rosen. Definitely worth it. Do your due diligence. You got a 30-day window to check it out. Jonathan, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be with us and sharing about, where networking is, where it's going, and what are the possibilities to really help expand not only your, why and what you're doing in your business, but also how you could go and really give and help somebody else do the same. And then when we're doing it together, we elevate each of every one of us to do that in our businesses. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris. It's been my pleasure. This has been great fun. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us here at Business Influencers. And we, again, welcome you to reach out with any questions that you may have, and we're more than happy to address them. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your day, and we will see you next week.